The suspects have been on the phone, and then they...
Welcome to Viral Twist. This guy stole a car, then drove like he was on a Sunday grocery trip. No rush, no panic, just 25 miles per hour and full chill mode.
To bring you this pursuit of we believe, a stolen car right now, just getting off the freeway, off the 10 freeway, indeed, in the San Gabriel Valley.
It's that silver Hyundai that you can see. The speeds have not been incredible. Right now we're going about, 30 miles or so an hour, not much higher on the freeway, only because of the traffic that has been involved in this. The Sheriff's Department does have a helicopter overhead. They were trying to get the CHP involved to take it over, but now that it is off the freeway, that is certainly probably less likely for that to happen. But we do have Des overhead. Des, they've also got an airship with this, right?
Yes, so they do have an airship on this as well. You can see the grounding. It's kind of interesting, Mike, because I heard them talking about trying to get permission to re-engage because they had gone into surveillance mode. I mean, they seem to be pretty engaged at this point. Looked like at one point they may have even been setting up for a pit maneuver or something like that. But, getting into rush hour traffic, and we're on some of these smaller surface streets, so that might be kind of complicated. Let's see if we can see inside, and it looks like we just got someone just kind of chilling out here in the driver's seat. 25 miles an hour. Looks like he's got, getting to get on the phone. So, hopefully he pays attention here, at the very least, as he refuses to stop for police. So like you said, Mike, we haven't heard about any crazy speeds or crazy driving at this point. Just refusing to yield and just trying to confirm if they're actually officially re-engaged in this. I'm still just hearing the airship call out the streets, but so around the 710 on the edge of City Heights and Alhambra as we come out here onto Ramona. There's the 10 freeway there. So just kind of hanging around this area. No rhyme or reason. We'll see how sheriff's deputies want to handle this one. See if we have a chance to get a better look inside while we have this angle. I think it's going to be just the driver, unless there's someone in the back seats. It looks like just the driver inside this vehicle, Mike and Juan.
And Mike and Des, we're not seeing any crazy driving. He stops here at the stop sign. He's been doing this for the last few minutes or so here. Got off the freeway when traffic was getting a little heavier, and now it's kind of just going round and round.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are supposed to be in surveillance mode, but usually surveillance mode does not have the deputies kind of right on the bumper like that. So that's what Des and I have been trying to kind of sort out here, whether they are or are not in surveillance mode. We've heard the airship ask for permission to re-engage. We didn't hear any approval of that, but certainly those units are in a position where they would look like they're in full-blown pursuit, not in that surveillance type mode. Surveillance mode, for people who don't know, is when the units back off and kind of not necessarily give the illusion that they're not chasing, but try to cool the temperature down. Maybe if this guy thinks there's nobody right behind him, he'll pull over, he'll give up, he'll run. Something that will end the threat to the public of this chase. And so that's what the design of surveillance mode is. And you have the helicopter that is overhead. That is calling out the coordinates and the locations, as Desmond said. Now we're back on the 10 westbound. We will see if they get CHP back involved. That's what they wanted to do originally, They wanted to hand this off to the California Highway Patrol.
So we know so far they're telling us the car was stolen. Do we know from where, Mike?
Say that one more time, Juan. I'm sorry.
Do we know where this car may have been stolen from?
No, we've not got. We heard potentially somewhere in the San Gabriel Valley. Montebello, I believe, is one of the cities they were talking about. But we don't know if this person potentially knows the person he stole it from, if the deputies know who this is. If it was stolen out of Montebello, that'd be Montebello PD, which means we were likely in a situation where the deputies ran the plate and it just came back stolen. So certainly we'll try to get some of that information. But now that we're back on the freeway, we'll see if they're going to try to get CHP involved again.
And Desmond, looking ahead, what does traffic look like here on the westbound 10?
Well, we're on the westbound 10, and I think this is going to be the lanes that'll either take us to the northbound 101 or the southbound 5. And, of course, if you head towards the northbound 101 this time of day, I think you know what kind of traffic this suspect will be in for. And if they transition to the southbound 5, there could definitely be a little bit of a clog up headed to the East LA interchange as well. So we'll see where we're going to go. Yeah, I think we're going to be sticking with the 10 where that stub where it turns into the northbound 101. But now you see the units backing off, and there's kind of some back and forth between the watch commander and the air unit about what they want to do. Mike, are you hearing anything more concrete about this?
Yeah, so the deputies were questioned as to why. It sounded like they were not questioned, but there was a concern that they may be too close for surveillance mode. So they clarified that nobody has any lights or sirens on, but they are still following the car. So
see this as we're broadcasting this. A watch commander, quite possibly watching this live feed. So we're making the transition though through Boyle Heights, and let's see where we're going to end up here. It's
Des, I also want to clarify, we were going back and forth on the surveillance mode and whatnot. So what had happened was the watch commander over at Temple Station wanted some of the Temple units to get out of it. So they designated 3 units, 2 units and a supervisor to be involved in this, as well as Sheriff's Air 8, which is what's overhead right now. So when we saw those units back off, there was some coordination about who was allowed to be chasing and who was not. So they are still in surveillance mode. The airship is confirming that now, even though we see that unit kind of right behind there. They are trying to get CHP to come get involved as well.
So this is still sheriff deputies, huh, Mike?
This is still sheriff's deputies, and that one in front, I believe, is the SAM unit, which is the sergeant. So that's who I believe is kind of taken over and is right behind here. And there was 2 more units approved. So you've got the sergeant and 2 units behind him that were supposed to be approved in this. The air unit is trying to coordinate to get CHP involved. And remember, we were going to get CHP, but then we got off the freeway. So now we'll see that we're back on the freeway. If they can get CHP involved, get them in place, because the sheriff's deputy it sounds like they would like to not do this anymore. They'd like to give this over to the California Highway Patrol, but certainly it's difficult for them to always get involved, especially when this person is kind of back and forth. Now, the reason they were able to re-engage Juan is the airship said, look, he's in downtown. We know what happens in downtown. We get into those tall buildings. If that happens, we're going to lose them. Can we please re-engage? And then they got the permission to do so.
And this being a Hyundai, we know how infamously easy these newer Hyundais are to steal. I will say this, for once, does not look like a case of the Kia boys, Kias and Hyundais, where we have those kind of underage joyriders, sometimes 5 or 6 of them in a car, where they go in and then they all scatter when the police try to pull them over for stealing the car. It does not look to be an incident of that. Looks to be one full-grown male inside the vehicle. That's we'll just have to see how all of that plays out. But for the time being, and we're making. Let's see how we're going to transition here through downtown. Might be making our way to the 110 now, which could be bad news for us either way. So, but yeah, no one behind the suspect, just the helicopter, and getting into an area where it could definitely be tough for that helicopter.
And he's picking the right lanes too, Desmond. He's hitting the lanes with very little or no traffic, as we see here.
There's nobody behind this guy, and this is going to get very frustrating very quickly for the sheriff's helicopter that is overhead on this one. And CHP was not able to get in place before they got off the freeway, and I'm skeptical that they're going to get in place now that they're off the freeway. So we'll see what the next move is going to be. But here we are, where so many pursuits come lately in downtown Los Angeles.
And Des, I'm just listening to the radio traffic here. So Sheriff's Department, they 22'd their ground units. They told the airship to switch over to the block to talk to CHP. CHP was about to get into position, but then when CHP found out that the sheriff's units backed off, then they backed their units off too, saying they have to allocate their officers to other things. And look at that. There's a motorcycle, CHP motorcycle going right past it. So the CHP units have been told not to engage with this. So Sheriff doesn't want it, CHP doesn't want it. So now you have Sheriff's Air 8, which I believe is pulling off, Desmond, right? I don't think they're with you anymore.